David Muir, ABC's World News Tonight, America's most watched newscast. Now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney+. Most watched, most trusted. Now on Disney+ every night.
Tonight, the breaking news as we come on, the chilling new images, the engine coming off the plane. This is moments before the crash in Louisville, killing 14 people. Authorities now pointing to these dramatic new images tonight showing the plane's final moments. Also tonight, the president calling several Democrats in Congress, most of them veterans, traitors in a post. Then in another saying this is punishable by death after they put out a video telling service members that they can refuse, quote, illegal orders. Tonight, the White House is asked, given the president's words in these posts and in this environment, does the president want to execute members of Congress? How the White House answered. Tonight, two suspects labeled domestic terrorists after an immigration crackdown accused of ramming into Border Patrol officers. Now the defense says the officer swerved into one of them before opening fire and then appearing to brag about the shooting in text messages that followed. Tonight, the president has signed the Jeffrey Epstein bill into law. The clock has begun 30 days now to release the files. Tonight, even some Republican members of Congress warning against any potential attempts to slow this down. Tonight, the images of that 18-year-old girl, her body being carried off a Carnival cruise ship. The investigation now after a source says she was found wrapped in a blanket and under life vests. What we've now learned in this case tonight. The flash flood emergency at this hour and the potential storm system that could disrupt Thanksgiving week travel. Lee Goldberg is standing by with our first look at the Thanksgiving forecast. The major fire erupting at a climate change conference. The images tonight, people running to safety. The high-speed chase for a murder suspect accused of killing two brothers, two teenagers. The suspect reaching speeds of 117 miles per hour, what officers had to do. The daring effort to save a shark. At one point, you'll see the image. One rescuer reaching his arm right into the shark's mouth. What they were trying to do. Tonight in Washington, the funeral for former Vice President Dick Cheney, a rare moment of warmth between members of both parties and what former President Bush said about his VP. And America Strong tonight, 1 week now before Thanksgiving, and Deborah Roberts is here with one extraordinary effort to put dinner on the table and how you can help.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with these chilling new images now released of that deadly crash, the engine coming right off the plane moments before it went down in Louisville, killing 14 people. The NTSB tonight releasing harrowing photos of the plane's final seconds. Flames seen coming from the left wing as it leaves the runway. You can see the engine breaking apart, that engine clearly separating from the wing, the fire spreading, the pilots unable to abort takeoff at this point. That UPS plane crashing just seconds after takeoff. Mola Lenghi leading us off tonight with these new images.
Tonight, the NTSB revealing horrifying frame-by-frame images. The clearest look yet at the moment the left engine broke off a UPS cargo plane wing as it took off from Louisville Airport and then exploded. Airport surveillance photos show the plane taking off with the engine intact. Then, the engine breaks away and snaps upward, erupting in flames that spread to the rest of the plane. Flight 2976 never got more than 30 feet off the ground before it crashed into a petroleum recycling plant and a scrapyard. 14 people, 3 crew and 11 on the ground, were killed. The trail of destruction half a mile long. The NTSB recovering these crucial parts of the plane from the scene, now zeroing in on the 34-year-old MD-11's left pylon, the component that attaches the engine to the wing, reporting they found evidence of fatigue cracks in addition to areas of overstress failure.
We do know that the aircraft underwent some maintenance 2 weeks prior where they were supposed to look at this area, but you can't always visually identify these kinds of fatigue cracks. They're very, very fine and often takes an X-ray machine to find them.
The NTSB, Boeing, and the FAA grounding all MD-11s, MD-10s, and DC-10s while they investigate whether the problem is widespread. Investigators also noted similarities between this disaster and the 1979 Chicago crash of American Airlines Flight 191, a DC-10 that killed 273 people just after takeoff. Well, David, as the crash investigation continues, a final report from the NTSB is expected in 18 to 24 months, David.
Mola Lenghi leading us off here tonight. Mola, thank you. Tonight, the White House dialing back President Trump's own words today. The president calling several Democrats in Congress, most of them veterans, traitors in a post, and then in another post saying this is punishable by death after they put out a video telling service members they can refuse, quote, illegal orders. The White House was asked, in this environment, what is the president suggesting? Here's Rachel Scott.
Tonight, President Trump criticized by members of both parties after calling 6 Democratic members of Congress, quote, traitors, and accusing them of seditious behavior punishable by death.
Representative.
It came in response to video released by the lawmakers, all of whom served in the military or in U.S. intelligence.
I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
In the video, the lawmakers reminding members of the military they should not obey illegal orders.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law or our Constitution.
The lawmakers did not specify which orders they were talking about, but the president enraged, posting a flurry of messages on social media saying they should be arrested and put on trial. Their words cannot be allowed to stand, adding, an example must be set. The president then writing, seditious behavior punishable by death. And he reposted a message from another account that said, hang them. George Washington would. Democrats accusing the president of inciting violence.
This puts all of our lives in jeopardy, right? What are we all doing right now? Democrats in the Congress are on the phone with their chiefs of staff, beefing up our security for this weekend and next week, because the president has a lot of unhinged supporters out there.
Republicans clearly uncomfortable.
The words that the president chose are not the ones that I would use, okay? Obviously, I don't think that these are crimes punishable by death or any of that, okay?
Republican Senator Rand Paul was blunt.
That kind of rhetoric isn't good and stirs up people among us who may not be stable, who may think, well, traitors, what do we do with traitors? That's a death penalty. Maybe I'll just take matters into my own hands, which is not something we should be encouraging.
At the White House, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt was asked to explain.
Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to.
Leavitt saying the 6 Democrats are the ones inciting violence.
They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command.
I spoke with Congressman Jason Crow, a former Army Ranger who was in that video.
What would your message to the president be?
I don't do fear and intimidation well, and I'm not going to stop.
In that video, Democrats cited what they called threats to the Constitution, insisting that the Trump administration is pitting our military against American citizens, but they did not provide any specific examples. Congressman Crow telling me they felt the need to start a conversation after the president made what he called disturbing statements. David.
Rachel Scott live up on the Hill tonight. Rachel, thank you. We are tracking potentially life-threatening flooding in Texas at this hour, heavy rain and flooding moving from Texas to the Ohio Valley. And our first look tonight at a system that could affect Thanksgiving week travel next week. First tonight, here the pictures, the rising waters rushing through Menard, Texas, up to 9 inches of rain falling in some areas already. So let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg from WABC. Hi, Lee.
Hi, David. Torrential rain and now severe weather across central and east Texas. Some of the heaviest rain working from Austin to Dallas, even some severe weather near Waco with storms that can produce 60-mile-per-hour gusts. The flood threat extends all the way up to Missouri tonight. Now, tomorrow, that rain will extend to the Ohio Valley and the mid-Atlantic, but thankfully it gets lighter, could even arrive here in New York City later tomorrow night. There's a second flood zone. That's Southern California, Santa Barbara to L.A. again, and down to the desert areas. Flood watches through Friday evening for Palm Springs and Yuma. Mudslides possible, even a foot of snow in the mountains. This is the storm that will make a cross-country move as we go through Thanksgiving week. We can certainly count on delays you see through the Midwest into Tuesday and maybe extending into Wednesday in the east. David?
Yeah, that's the portrait right through next Tuesday. And Lee, you'll continue to track it right here with us. Thank you. Next tonight, 2 suspects who had been labeled domestic terrorists during an immigration crackdown in Chicago, accused of ramming into Border Patrol officers. Well, the government tonight dropping charges. The defense now says an officer swerved into one of them before then opening fire, shooting a woman multiple times, then allegedly bragging about the shooting in text messages that followed. Here's Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, the case against a woman accused of ramming a Border Patrol vehicle during an immigration crackdown in Chicago has been dismissed after the defense suggested there was evidence it was the agent who swerved into her.
These agents were lying about what happened. Ms. Martinez never rammed anybody. These agents hit Ms. Martinez. These agents jumped out and shot Ms. Martinez, a U.S. citizen.
Marimar Martinez, seen here in a convoy tailing federal agents during Operation Midway Blitz, was shot 5 times by Border Patrol after their vehicles collided, sparking chaotic protests. Prosecutors had labeled that woman in the car a domestic terrorist and charged her with assault. But defense attorneys said moments before the collision, a second agent in the car is heard on body camera footage daring Martinez, do something, expletive, before the driver swerves the government vehicle into Martinez's car, then gets out and opens fire. And he appeared to brag about the shooting in text messages. I fired 5 rounds and she had 7 holes. Put that in your book, boys. Asked about those texts in court, the agent responded, I am a firearms instructor and I take pride in my shooting skills. Tonight, Martinez, who's recovering from those gunshot wounds, beaming.
It's been hard, honestly. It's been hard. Like I can't sleep, but now I'm gonna go sleep. I'm gonna go rest.
So the case against Martinez is now over, David, but her attorney said tonight prosecutors are going to hang on to her car. It's now the subject of a separate investigation into the shooting itself. David?
Aaron Katersky tonight. Thanks, Aaron. Late last night, President Trump signed the Jeffrey Epstein bill into law. Tonight, the Justice Department now has 30 days to release the files. Let's get right to our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce. And Mary, I know lawmakers, including some Republicans tonight, warning against any potential delays here, that Americans are watching this very closely.
Yeah, and David, the president only signed this bill after relentless pressure from his own party. And tonight, even some Republicans are concerned that the administration won't follow through. The bill includes a provision to withhold files that could jeopardize any ongoing investigation, like the one that the president recently ordered into Democrats associated with Jeffrey Epstein. Some Republicans are now warning any delay could spark backlash from voters. Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina saying if the administration puts a blanket hold on the files, quote, they're going to have a lot of people angry. Now, the White House and Justice Department still have not said when or if they will release the files. And again, David, the law now gives them 30 days.
All right, Mary Bruce at the White House tonight. Mary, thank you. We turn now to the new images tonight of that 18-year-old girl, her body being carried off a Carnival cruise ship. Tonight, the investigation here after a source says she was found wrapped in a blanket and under life vests. What we've now learned in this case. Here's ABC's Victor Akendo.
Tonight, the alarming image of authorities in Florida removing the body of Anna Kepner from the Carnival Horizon cruise ship after the 18-year-old mysteriously died on board.
Are you Miss Hudson or is it Miss Kepner?
Miss Kepner.
And for the first time, we're seeing the teen's stepmother on camera, involved in a separate custody dispute with her first husband over their 2 minor children. One of those young children now a suspect in an FBI investigation into their stepsister's death, according to the parents and their lawyers.
The older child is a suspect in the death of the stepchild, an 18-year-old daughter that was staying in the same room on the cruise ship.
A security source briefed on the investigation says the child is the teen's stepbrother. In court today, the stepmother's attorney saying after the teen's death earlier this month, the child, now being investigated, required treatment.
Immediately after the incident, he was hospitalized, and then when released from the hospital.
Tonight, the reason for the hospitalization, unknown, but the child now with the relative, lawyers say. Tonight, east of Orlando, the teen's family and friends honoring the cheerleader and high school senior with the Celebration of Life service.
And David, one of the attorneys indicated he would possibly call that step-sibling and Anna Kepner's dad to the stand during a hearing next month. David?
Victor Akendo with us tonight. Thanks, Victor. We turn now to the funeral today for former Vice President Dick Cheney, one of the most powerful and polarizing vice presidents in U.S. history. And a rare moment today, Republican and Democratic leaders coming together to remember. Jon Karl was there.
At the National Cathedral today, all 5 living vice presidents gathered to honor the memory of the man considered to be the most powerful vice president of all, Dick Cheney. They shook hands at the front of the cathedral, Joe Biden arriving with Jill Biden, George W. Bush with Laura Bush, former Vice President Kamala Harris, a rare display of warmth across party lines. President George W. Bush praised Cheney as an American patriot.
This was a vice president totally devoted to protecting the United States and its interests.
There was never any agenda or angle beyond that. You did not know Dick Cheney unless you understood his greatest concerns and ambitions were for his country.
President Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance were not invited. Not surprising, considering Cheney had said in the last election, quote, "There has never been an individual who is a greater threat to our republic than Donald Trump." Cheney crossed party lines and endorsed Kamala Harris for president. His daughter, Liz Cheney, who lost her seat in Congress after she investigated January 6th, spoke of her father's love of country over party.
He knew that bonds of party must always yield to the single bond we share as Americans.
David, I was there at the service today. It was striking to see so many major figures from the Democratic and Republican parties, most of them from the past, but gathered there for a single purpose. It's the kind of thing you just don't see much these days. David?
Jon Karl in Washington. We appreciate it, John. Thank you. When we come back here, Amazon has begun sending out those refunds tonight. So who's getting them? Also ahead, the scare at the climate talks in Brazil. Delegates running for their lives. You can see it right there when that fire broke out. The high-speed chase for a murder suspect accused of killing 2 teenagers. The suspect reaching speeds right here of 117 miles per hour. What they had to do to try to stop him. And then the daring effort to save a shark tonight. At one point, one rescuer reaching right into the shark's mouth. What they were trying to do there in a moment here. Tonight, a raging fire inside the UN Climate Summit in Brazil. Take a look. People running to escape the blaze, burning through pavilions. 13 people treated for smoke inhalation. They believe electrical equipment may be the blame here. Back in the U.S., the chase for a double murder suspect in Pierce County, Washington State. The suspect accused of killing 2 teenagers, at times reaching 117 miles per hour. Deputies tried to unleash a heavy-duty hook to catch the car. They then conducted a pit maneuver, the car flipping over. He is now under arrest. When we come back, those Amazon refunds on the way for some customers, will explain. And then this daring effort to save a shark, the rescuer reaching right into the shark's mouth. And you'll see it in a moment here. To the index of other news tonight, Amazon has begun sending out refunds to some customers, part of its $2.5 billion settlement with the FTC that had alleged Amazon coerced millions of people into Prime subscriptions that they then struggled to cancel. Amazon did not admit wrongdoing. A team of rescuers working to save a gray nurse shark off the coast of Australia. 2 of them in the water restraining the shark, another reaching into the shark's mouth to remove a trace line and large hook which was attached to the shark's stomach. The shark was then released back into the water. They say without that team's intervention, that shark would not have survived. When we come back tonight, America Strong tonight, 1 week to go until Thanksgiving. Deborah Roberts is here with the effort to put dinner on the table and how you can help in a moment. Finally tonight here, 1 week until Thanksgiving, the remarkable effort now spreading across the country to put special medically tailored meals on the table. Here's Deborah Roberts.
Tonight, with Thanksgiving just a week away, the extraordinary effort from so many all across the U.S. to feed those in need.
Welcome to the God's Love Kitchen.
This is a huge kitchen.
It is
and
huge.
It smells great, too, by the way.
Amazing?
In New York City, the nonprofit God's Love We Deliver, for 40 years now, since 1985, cooking and delivering special medically tailored meals and so much more. Terrence Meck, once a volunteer, is president and CEO.
They're not alone at the end of the day, and that they have the dignity that they deserve, the love, compassion that we do here at God's Love We Deliver. It's life-changing.
You bring the connection.
We do, right to their door.
An incredible 20,000 volunteers making 4 million meals a year.
You're good at that. Very well done.
Aurora decorating the cakes, volunteering here for 6 years now.
I just like the feeling that I'm doing something for somebody that I don't actually know, but I feel that I know them.
This Thanksgiving, more than 1,000 volunteers cooking and delivering 12,500 dinners. That's 8,300 pounds of turkey. Andy slicing.
This is our beef and spinach stew.
Lead sous chef Brian making soups. The veggies, topping it all off with gravy. Robert adding the stuffing. Feline peeling potatoes.
You're not just delivering food, you're bringing so much more to these folks.
Yes, what I give to God's Love is I got back so much more.
And they're not alone. Their model now expanding through the Food is Medicine Coalition, the nonprofits Mama's Kitchen in San Diego, Open Hand Atlanta in Georgia, and Project Angel Heart in Denver, all delivering meals this Thanksgiving.
Carry up those meals, give them that hug, and say Happy Thanksgiving. And it's the best. It's just the best.
You're changing lives on both sides, too.
We are.
Clearly.
We are. It's changed my life, and I'm so grateful.
No question. To help, go to God's Love We Deliver website, glwd.org. Thank you, Deb. Good night.
David Muir, the most watched newscast in America. And now, ABC's World News Tonight has won the Emmy for Best Live News Program for the third year in a row.